I never believed in the Goatman, written by Flayed Wolf, narrated by Savvy Bee. Not when I was a kid hearing the stories whispered at sleepovers. Not when teenagers swore they'd seen glowing eyes in the tree line. Not when the local news ran that ridiculous Halloween segment about North Texas's most haunted bridge. I rolled my eyes at all of it. Urban legends are just that, legends. Stories people tell make the night feel bigger than it is. But I'll tell you this now, before I lose my nerve. Old Alton Bridge is not just a story, and the thing that lives there is not a metaphor, or a ghost, or a trick of the dark. It's real. It's hungry, and it knows your name. I didn't know any of that when I agreed to go. It was supposed to be a joke, a dare, a stupid late night adventure to prove to my friends and maybe to myself that I wasn't scared of some rusted old bridge in the woods. "Come on, Maya," my friend Jess had said, leaning across the table at the poorhouse, her eyes bright with mischief. "You're the only one who hasn't been. You've gotta go at least once." "I don't gotta do anything," I'd say, sipping my beer. "3 knocks," she said. "That's all. You knock 3 times on the metal railing, and if the goat man doesn't show up, you get bragging rights forever." "And if he does?" I asked, smirking. "Then you run." Everyone laughed. I did too. I should have said no. I should have gone home. I should have trusted the tiny, cold knot forming in my stomach. But I didn't. I said, "Fine, let's go." And that was the beginning of the end. We parked at the trailhead just after midnight. The air was thick with humidity, the kind that clings to your skin and makes the night feel alive. Crickets buzzed in the bush. The trees loomed overhead, their branches tangled like fingers. Jess led the way with the flashlight, though the beam barely cut through the darkness. "You know," she said, "they say the goat man was a real guy. A goat farmer named Oscar Washburn. Lived around here in the 1930s." "Yeah, yeah," I said. "And the Klan lynched him on the bridge, right? And when they went to check the body, the noose was empty." "I've heard it." "Spooky," she teased. "It's a ghost story," I said. "Nothing more." But the woods didn't feel like nothing. They felt watchful. Every few steps, I caught the faintest whiff of something metallic, like old pennies or blood. I told myself it was just the creek. We reached the clearing, and there it was. Old Alton Bridge. Rust red, narrow, silent. The metal trusses rose overhead like the ribs of some ancient beast. The wooden planks creaked under our feet as we stepped onto it. Jess turned to me. "Ready? Let's get this over with." I walked to the center of the bridge, placed my hand on the cold metal railing, and knocked. Once, twice, 3 times. The sound echoed through the trees. Nothing happened. I exhaled, half relieved, half disappointed. See? I said. Urban legend. Jess opened her mouth to reply, but then she froze. Did you hear that? She whispered. Hear what? She pointed toward the far end of the bridge. The sound drifted from the darkness. A low, wet exhale, like something breathing. I swallowed hard. Probably an animal. Yeah, she said. Her voice was thin. Probably. We stood there listening. The breathing grew louder, closer, and then something knocked back. 3 slow, deliberate knocks on the metal. My blood turned to ice. Jess grabbed my arm. Maya, we need to go. But I couldn't move because the knocks hadn't come from the far end of the bridge. They'd come from right behind us. We spun around. The bridge behind us was empty. No footsteps, no shadows, no one. But the air had changed. It felt heavier, thicker, charged like the moment before lightning strikes. Jess whispered, we should leave. Yeah, I said. Let's. The voice cut me off. My. My name, spoken softly from the tree line. Jess's eyes went wide. Who the hell? Maya. The voice repeated. It sounded like my mother, but my mother was asleep at home, miles away. The voice came again, closer this time. Come here, baby. My stomach dropped. Jess grabbed my wrist. Don't listen to it. I'm not, I said, but my feet had already taken a step toward the sound. The voice shifted, warped, like a recording being dragged backward. Maya. Then it changed again. Deeper, rougher, wrong. Branches snapped in the woods. Something moved between the trees. Tall, hunched, impossibly fast. Jess screamed, run! We bolted back across the bridge. Behind us, something heavy hit the wooden planks. Woof. Then another. Then a third. The bridge shook. I didn't look back. Couldn't. We sprinted down the trail, branches whipping our faces. The flashlight beam bouncing wildly. Behind us, the hoofsteps followed. Slow, steady, unhurried. As if whatever was chasing us knew we couldn't escape. Jess gasped. Have to! We reached the fork in the trail. Left toward the car, right toward the creek. Jess veered left. Grabbed her arm. Wait! What? Listen! The hoofsteps had stopped. The woods were silent. Too silent. No crickets. No wind. No water. Just a thick, suffocating stillness. Jess whispered. Where did it go? Twigs snapped behind us. We turned slowly. Something stood on the trail. Tall, broad-shouldered, silhouetted against the faint moonlight. Its legs were bent backward like a goat's. Its arms were long, ending in clawed hands, and its head, God, its head, curved horns rose from its skull, framing a face that was almost human, but stretched too far. The mouth too wide, the eyes too deep. It exhaled and the smell hit us. Copper and rot and something ancient. Jess whimpered. Oh my God. The goat man tilted its head. Then it spoke. Maya. My name, my mother's voice. Jess grabbed my arm. Run! We tore down the right path toward the creek. The goat man didn't chase us. It didn't have to, because the woods themselves seemed to shift around us. The trail twisted in ways it never had before. Trees leaned inward, their branches clawing at our clothes. The air grew colder, thicker, harder to breathe. Jess stumbled. It's it's changing the woods. No, I said, though I didn't believe it. We're just lost. Maya, the goat man called. Closer now. Come back. Voice was wrong again. Layered, like multiple people speaking at once. My mother, Jess, me. Hearing my own voice echo through the trees nearly broke me. Jess sobbed. It's playing with us. Keep moving. We crashed through the brush, following the faint sound of water. If we could reach the creek, we could follow it back to the road. That was the plan. But Goatman had other plans. We burst out of the trees and stumbled down the embankment to the creek. The water was low, trickling over rocks. Jess bent over, hands on her knees, gasping. Oh, no, it's that thing. I don't know, I said. But we need to. A splash cut me off. Something stepped into the creek upstream. We froze. The moonlight glinted off wet fur. Jess whispered, No, no, no. Goatman stepped into view. Its hoofs sank into the mud. Its breath steamed in the cold air. Its eyes glowed faintly like embers. It didn't rush us. It just watched, waiting. Jess grabbed my hand. We can cross. Climb the other side. We scrambled up the opposite bank, dirt crumbling under our fingers. Behind us, the goatman moved, slow, deliberate. Each step, a promise. We reached the top of the bank and ran. Branches tore at our clothes, roots caught our feet. The woods seemed to twist and warp, funneling us deeper instead of out. Jess cried, It's hurting us! I know! We broke into a clearing and my heart stopped. Because we weren't deeper in the woods. We were back at the bridge. Old Mountain Bridge. It loomed ahead, rusted, silent. Jess shook her head. No, that's impossible. We ran the other way. It's leading us back. To what? I swallowed hard. To finish what we started. We backed away from the clearing, but the trees behind us shifted. Literally shifted. Branches bending, trunks groaning, closing off the path. Jess screamed, "It's trapping us!" The Goatman stepped out of the woods behind us. We ran onto the bridge. The wooden planks groaned under our feet. Halfway across, Jess stopped. Maya! Look! The metal trusses were moving? Breathing? The rusted beams expanded and contracted like lungs. The whole bridge pulsed with a slow, sick rhythm. I whispered, "This isn't real." But it was. The Goatman stepped onto the bridge behind us. The planks bowed under its weight. It just grabbed my shoulders. We had to jump. What? Into the creek. It's not that far. It's 20 feet. Better than staying here. The Goatman exhaled, and the bridge shuddered. I looked over the edge. The water glinted below. Jess said, "On three." I nodded. One. The Goatman spoke. Maya. We froze. It wasn't mimicking anymore. It was speaking in its own voice. Deep, resonant, ancient. Look at me. I didn't want to. God, I didn't want to. But my body turned on its own, and I saw it. Really saw it. Not just the horns or the hoofs or the twisted limbs. I saw the intelligence behind its eyes, the hunger, the recognition. It knew me. Just screamed, "Maya, jump!" I tore my gaze away and climbed onto the railing. Jess grabbed my hand. We jumped together. The Goatman roared. The world spun. The water rushed up to meet us. Then everything went black. I awoke cold, freezing, bone deep, cold. The creek had carried us downstream, away from the bridge. Jess was beside me, coughing up water. "You alive?" she rasped. Barely. We dragged ourselves onto the bank, shivering. The woods were quiet again. Normal. No breathing bridge. No shifting trees. No glowing eyes. Jess whispered, "We get away?" I wanted to say yes. I wanted to believe it, but the air still smelled faintly of copper, and the night felt too still. I stood wincing. We need to get to the road. We followed the creek until we reached the trailhead. The car was still there. Just sobbed with relief. We made it! We climbed in, dripping wet, shaking. Jess fumbled with the keys. Come on, come on. The engine sputtered. Died. She tried again. Nothing. I whispered, "Jess, Across the parking lot, at the edge of the trees, something stood. Tall, still, watching. The goat man. Gus screamed and slammed the locks. The goat man stepped forward. The headlights flickered on by themselves, and in the beams, I saw its face clearly for the first time. Not a monster, not a demon, something older, something that had worn many shapes over many years, something that had been waiting for me. It lifted one clawed hand and tapped the hood of the car. Once, twice, 3 times. I sobbed. What does it want? I knew. God help me, I knew. It wants me. The goat man leaned down, his face inches from the windshield, and in my own voice, it whispered, "Come home." The lights went out, the world went silent, and something opened inside my mind. A memory. No, not a memory. A truth. I saw flashes. A man hanging from a noose on the bridge. A body that wasn't there when they checked. A creature rising from the creek, horns dripping with water. A woman, my great-grandmother, standing on the bridge, whispering to the darkness. A pact. A promise. A bloodline. My bloodline. That shook me. Maya! Maya, snap out of it! Goatman stepped back, waiting, inviting, calling. I opened the car door. Jess screamed, "No!" But I stepped out because I understood now. The Goatman wasn't hunting me. It was claiming me. I walked toward it. The night folded around us. The trees bowed. The air hummed. The Goatman lowered its head, horns gleaming. I whispered, "What are you?" It answered without speaking. A flood of images filled my mind. Centuries of hunger, of worship, of fear. A creature born of violence and belief. A guardian, a judge, a god. And I was its heir. Jess screamed my name, but her voice sounded far away. The Goatman reached out a clawed hand. I took it. The world dissolved. I woke at dawn, alone, lying on the bridge. The meadow was cold beneath me. The woods were quiet. Jess was gone. Her car was gone. Everything looked normal, as if nothing had happened. But I knew better. I stood slowly, my body aching. The air smelled like copper. And when I exhaled, the bridge exhaled with me. I walked to the center of the bridge and placed my hand on the railing. The metal was warm, alive. I knocked once. The sound echoed. I knocked twice. The air thickened. I knocked a third time. The woods answered. A low, familiar exhale. I smiled because I wasn't a skeptic anymore. I was a believer. And the Goatman was no longer a story. He was family. People still go to old Alton Bridge. Teenagers, ghost hunters, curious thrill seekers. They knock 3 times. They wait. They laugh. Sometimes they hear breathing. Sometimes they see eyes in the trees. Sometimes they run screaming back to their cars. But sometimes, when the night is right and the air smells like copper and the woods fall silent, they see me standing on the bridge, watching, waiting, falling. And when they hear my voice echo through the trees, soft and sweet, saying their name, they always come closer. They always believe. And they never leave. Not really. Because the Goatman isn't just a legend, he's a legacy. And now I am too.